and that way you've always got some fresh drinking water at hand. The next up I have the Pocket Boy Silky Saw. Again, it's an excellent bit of kit. I do actually prefer the Laplander, but the Laplander's a little bit bigger than this, and this is perfect just for sticking in a small pack. So depending on what pack I was carrying would depend on which saw I was taking, but for this one's perfect. And it's starting to rain tonight, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Petzl head torch, you've seen that. I'm not going to bother going into much about this, but it is an excellent spare head torch to have and carry as a backup. I'm going to try and move on now because it's actually getting heavier and heavier in rain. Fire kit. Should always have the means to start a fire. That is absolutely essential. Wherever you go, if you're going out in the woods for anything whatsoever, I would suggest you have the means to light a fire and know how to do it perfectly, even when it's pouring or rain, and we'll get a good chance of doing that tonight. Next up, paracord. Speaks for itself. You've got to have cordage. To make this in the wild is a time-consuming effort. It is going to take you a long time to make natural cordage. Right now, the best thing that we can make cordage out of, well, in this forest, we have the roots from the various trees, but the best cordage comes from nettles. The nettles are only just out in spring, so it would be a real difficult task to make cordage. So always carry cordage with you. Next, I have the Heat Sheet Bivy bag, and this is an emergency sleeping bag, and we're going to put this to the test tonight. This is all I've got to sleep in, so I really hope it does what it says it does, or it's going to be a cold night, and I'm not going to be particularly happy in the morning. Next up, I have my Dutch mug. Love this mug. This is absolutely fantastic. Everywhere I go, this comes with me. This is a very versatile bit of kit. You can simply pop it straight on the fire, boil your water, or anything you want to cook, it can be done in there. You can dig holes with this. You can do anything you want with this mug. It is absolutely solid piece of equipment. And inside there, I have one of these plastic pop-up mugs. And again, I would use that in connection with the filter in here. So if I'm just looking for a drink of water, this is the cup I'll use. And then after I've had a drink, I'll put it in the bag, and that'll go in my pocket for later. But if I'm just wanting a quick drink from a stream, this is the cup I use. And again, I'm going to find a stream somewhere in here, and I'll demonstrate that a bit later on. And then the next thing I have is the Millbank bag, because that works perfectly with this cup. That basically takes out all the organic matter, leaf litter, etc. And once it's filtered through in there, you've got good clean water. It's not safe to drink, but it is clean, and then we can boil it up on the fire and make it good to go. So I've always got these two bits of kit. If you do watch all my videos, you'll see there's a certain theme to the kit that I have, and I have most of it comes with me regardless of which pack I've got. And because for me, it's tried and tested methods, and I know they work, and that's why I always carry that kit. The next thing I have in this pack is there is a large zipped compartment at the back here, and I really like it. It is enough to simply put in a lightweight poncho. This is the American type, and this is what I'm going to be using for my shelter tonight. So this is going to keep the rain off me, and that's going to keep me warm. Well, I don't know about warm, but it's going to keep me alive. And that's the whole point of this kit. So I'm looking forward to trying it out tonight. I must admit, rather than just talking about these things, I actually want to get out, demonstrate them and do them. And the next thing I have in here is one of these. These are the Hoop and Look Velcro systems, again Maxpedition. And I'll show you why I have that here, is because once I'm in the woods with this pack, the knife I have is the Fal Niven F1 survival knife. And what you can simply do, and I'll just do it right now, is obviously when you're walking through the town or it's in the car or that, you don't want to show the knife. But once you're out in the woods, you can slide the sheath into there, and then you pop it back in the bag. And the whole back of this bag has got a Velcro system in it. Sorry, I've put it in the wrong one. It should be in the forward one, and I'll show you the reason why just in 2 minutes once I've done this. if I pop that in there, and then it means when I put the knife into this pack, I can secure it on the Velcro right down there, and then simply tuck that down the back, which means when I'm walking about in the woods now, I can have everything I've got, but I can have the knife like that at the top. And now that knife sheath is not going anywhere because that is held in there on that Velcro system, so I can move about. If I need to light a fire, I actually keep a spare fire steel here, and with the knife I can simply get access to that no problem without having to go digging in my pack. So that's the reason behind that, and it's quite easy to put it back in as well. So that is the Maxpedition Versipack, and I'm actually really starting to enjoy using this pack. It's becoming a firm favourite of mine. So enough of the reviews, let's go and play. Hello again. Okay, what I've done is I've come down this fire break in the forest, and as you can see there's actually loads and loads of trees that have actually fallen down naturally. Now it is starting to rain, so I think tonight probably a raised platform would probably be in order, because I've been up in this forest before and once it gets wet it gets really wet. So I think being off the ground is probably a good start, and there's loads and loads of wood. Okay, what you can see I've done is I've now made a raised platform, and this has taken about 40 minutes, and you can see that I've actually stuck in 2 great big supports in that natural V in the tree, and then along here we have another one. There's a V cut in that post there to hold up the whole frame. It comes along here and then it kind of bends round and goes round to the back of that tree, and that's made it nice and stable. There's a centre post here which I'm going to start putting slats across the top, and then I've got another pole that runs up onto this tree here and it's stuck in. Now just so you know, if you hear people coughing etc, I have brought a friend with me this weekend and his name's John, so if you hear people coughing or cutting wood etc, that's who it is, it's John. I'm not being stalked. And I would also like to say at this point, if this was really extreme weather in the winter, I would be building a fire right in that V there, and then at night I'd be putting the fire out, making sure that everything was covered over. I would then put my sticks on top of this, and therefore theoretically I'm sleeping on top of my fire, so I'm going to get all the heat from that fire radiating up through the sticks and onto my body, which is exactly what you want. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead, or what we're going to go and do now, is we're going to go and cut some wood and we're going to put the actual bed platform on it. I am tempted to light a fire in there tonight, but I don't think we'll need it. I think we'll just put the fire out here because I want to do some cooking skills etc, and that might be just a little bit of a tight space to do it. But if it was really cold and I had any concern whatsoever, that's exactly what I'd be doing in that V. Right in there, that's where my fire pit would be. There we have it. One raised platform up off the ground. Probably realistically I think that's a little bit too high for it, but you know, that was just the way it worked, so you just got to go for it. There's no point in, if you know, you just got to keep building and keep building. Remember, the whole point of this is just to get off the ground and get sheltered. That's not finished. What I've got to do now is I have to throw loads and loads and loads of thatching on top of that. Just that's why when we've chose a site which is quite near to that fire break, because that'll give us loads and loads of nice furry boffs off the trees, which is far better than the stuff you can see in here. There's nothing, there's no real light gets in here, so there's no greenage as you were. So we've got to do that. And I did also notice coming down the fire track there's loads and loads of sphagnum moss, and that'll make an excellent bed. So we'll get back to you in a minute.